Just 1 week from today, this place will be wild. NASCAR will crown its Daytona 500 champion right here on Fox. Just 1 week from today, this place will be wild. NASCAR will crown its Daytona 500 champion right here on Fox. Welcome to Daytona, Florida and Fox Racing. We've been here all week for Speed Weeks, and if you're joining us for the first time, you're in for a treat today. Promises to be a truly exciting day of racing between the very best in NASCAR. They are gearing up and ready to go, and we're ready to go. Hi, I'm Chris Myers, coming to you from just above historic Victory Lane. Thanks for being with us, and in just a few moments, you're going to see an all-star cast of drivers that'll give us a true indication of who will fare best in next Sunday's Great American Race here on Fox. Yesterday, Bill Elliott and his Dodge won the pole for the 500. Today, he goes for another victory in the Budweiser Shootout. First Dodge ever, by the way, in the shootout. So it's show and tell time for everybody, and the guy who will be telling us about the show is Mike Joy up in the broadcast booth. Good afternoon, Mike.
Oh, everyone. It's simple. Take the fastest qualifiers of last year, turn them loose in a sprint race to kick off stock car portion of Speed Weeks in Daytona, and we'll see who's really fastest. That was the concept Monty Roberts had in mind when he invented the Busch Clash. Now, the Budweiser Shootout. The race has had several format changes since 1979, and it's beginning. Another new one today. They'll go 70 laps, a new distance. There are 18 starters, including past winners of the shootout. That's new, and it's the biggest field ever, and they're going to race for $900,000. There they are being introduced, congratulating one another. As I welcome you to my partners in the broadcast booth this year, the 81 Busch Clash winner, Darrell Waltrip, after 20 fast laps, and champion crew chief Larry McReynolds. Darrell, this race has changed a lot, but isn't the idea the same? Put it down and hold it there.
Man, I got the entry blank for this race. I opened it up. I had to be looking through it. My name was on it. I was eligible to run this race, and I thought I broke out in a cold sweat because this is a race that you're glad you're in, but you hate to run it. So it's one of those emotional times when you walk down to your car and you just hope that at the end of the day you finished it and didn't have any trouble.
Larry, how would your setup differ today than it would for your Daytona 500 car?
Well, it's still a long race, but you know, it's a non-points race. Pays a lot of money, so a lot of the engine guys have left their qualifying motors in. But to me, the real story of the day is the strategy on the crew chief's shoulder. That mandatory pit stop, it has to be on the green. Change at least 2 tires. When to make that stop is the real key, but no matter when you make it, you got to have a partner. You can't get caught out there by yourself.
Well, let's go trackside down to Larry's and our Fox All-Star pit crew, led by the editor of Speedway Illustrated. Here's Dick Berggren.
Thanks, Mike. In 1987, Bill Elliott won the pole for the Daytona 500. He did that again yesterday. In 87, Bill Elliott won the Budweiser Shootout. He hopes to do that today. And in 87, when Elliott did all those things, he also won the Daytona 500. Will history repeat? Stick around. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Dick, the 70-lap big money non-points race may favor Dale Earnhardt. He's won 5 of the last 9, but this year there's new competition, son Dale Jr. But now the question is, with $200,000 in bragging rights on the line, how are they going to race after trading paint in practice? Steve.
Oh yeah, but guys, don't overlook Jeff Gordon. He's been in this race 7 times. He's won it twice. Last year he was second. He's qualified well for the 500. This is about building momentum, and oh yeah, no more rainbow. There's flames on this car. It's on fire, Jeannie Zelasco.
Oh, it's not where you start but where you finish. We all know that, but Tony Stewart couldn't be more pleased to find out he will be starting in the 4th row right next to his Joe Games racing teammate, Bobby Labonte. 2 guys plan to stick together. They're going to use each other, draft a lot. Tony told me that he is going to follow Bobby wherever he goes, even if he goes off the track to a concession stand. Can you blame him, Chris, considering Bobby is the defending Winston Cup champion?
All right, I would not, Jeannie. Thanks, Jeannie and team. And as you get a look there, how important is winning the shootout in the big picture? Well, the same winner of the shootout has gone on to win the Daytona 500 5 times, including last year with Dale Jarrett. He's done it twice. We're getting ready for the Budweiser Shootout. Counting down to the Daytona 500, Jeff Hamilton, Ken Squire. Join us when we return on Fox. NASCAR's star-studded cast ready to shoot it out in the Budweiser Shootout as you look at the guys who will be competing in the Daytona 500 just a week away. The countdown to 7 days here on Fox. It all started Thursday morning. They were moving in, getting ready to work early. Haulers bringing in the Winston Cup cars to the mecca of motorsports. All the big names gearing up for the big race. The first day of practice, Robbie Gordon running the fastest lap. Dodge very impressive with Bill Elliott deserving a wow. Landing the post, and Jeff Gordon joked with Ray Evernham.
told you were sandbagging.
All right, yeah, speaking of sandbagging, Jerry Nadeau lost the second spot when his car was disqualified for being too low. And as the sun set on what was a bright day for most of Daytona, our first race, the AC Delco 200 Goodies Dash, full of a flying medal and excitement. And in the end, Justin Hobgood in the 65 car wound up winning that race. And we welcome here at our set just above victory lane, Ken Squire and former crew chief Jeff Hammond, former championship crew chief. Let's get to the story of the day developing here with Rick Hendrick Motorsports and Jerry Nadeau. Of course, now it's an all Dodge front row, but this is something with the stakes so high, a mistake that shouldn't happen at this stage.
Well, Chris, I wouldn't necessarily say that. Believe me, as a crew chief, when you come down here to Daytona, you want to push the limit when it comes to the rules. You got to do all you can to make your car run as fast as possible. But Jerry and his team yesterday, their car was found 1/2 inch low in a post-qualifying inspection, and unfortunately for the team, they're going to have to requalify on Monday to try to get their spot in the 125 on Thursday. Not a very good start for the 2001 season for them.
All right, Ken, let's bring it back to the Budweiser Shootout, and Dale Earnhardt going for, he's won 6 times already, nobody's won more, but who will everybody be watching from the driver's standpoint?
Well, I tell you, there's a couple of things about along with making it a longer distance than we've ever seen before, and that is they've granted exemptions. So not only are the guys that are the fast from the previous year taking the poles, but this year, previous winners have been exempted to get in this show, and that's why you've got 6-time champion of the race, Earnhardt, in it. You've got the 2-time winner, Kenny Schrader, 99 winner Mark Martin, and one other, the guy that won it in 87. Bill Elliott is in this show on an exemption, and he brings the first Dodge to the dance in the history of this 23-year event. And that is really going to make it a pretty exciting race. All this great marquee ready to go for 175 green flag miles. That's a big difference.
Rusty Wallace saying he doesn't like the new format. Jeff Gordon told me he loves it. He's looking forward to a great race. Dick Bergman goes now with Bill Elliott. Dick?
Yeah, he's busy getting himself buckled into this race car, but does this thing seem as wild behind the wheel as it looks when you're watching at home on TV?
Pretty incredible, you know, the way NASCAR's got the rules right now. It's interesting. You know, the cars pick up quick. They got pretty good acceleration right now. You know, think about Daytona, it's always been a handling racetrack, and with this being 70 laps, we'll see what we can handle today in this Dodge.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Good luck today. To Steve Burns.
Dick with Jeff Gordon, who's won this race twice, but Jeff, my big question is, can you even have a strategy in a race like this?
I don't think you can anymore, except for just trying to be at the front at the right time. You know, it's going to be a lot about timing. You're going to go from the front to the back, back to the front, back to the back, and it's going to be a very interesting race. Throwing the 70 laps in there is certainly going to, you know, take it to a whole new level. We got to make a pit stop. That might string them out a little bit, but I'll tell you what, this is going to be one of the most exciting Bud shootouts that I've been a part of in a long time.
We believe you. Let's go to Matt.
And Dale Earnhardt has won the Bud Shootout a record 6 times today, going for number 7. Dale, what is your strategy to try to go for that record win, or do you even have one?
Stay out front. Try to stay up front and get back to the front if I don't stay out front.
Well, he doesn't have a problem going to the front. Back at Talladega in the fall, he was in 16th and still won with 4 laps to go. Jeannie?
Well, Matt, Bobby Labonte, we know there are no points involved here, but come on, just you and me talking here. You are the defending champion. There's got to be a little extra pressure to come out here and make a statement.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt that you want to run really good in this Bud Shootout, and, you know, hopefully we got this Interstate Batteries Pontiac running good. But, you know, there's a lot of competition out here. We're just going to go out there and do the best we can, just like we do every weekend, whether it's points or no points, and see how we turn out. It's a good way for us to learn a lot for the following week, which is Thursday and Sunday, which is really important also.
Yeah, we're well aware of that. We're counting down here on Fox Sports. Mike?
7 days.
18 drivers driving similarly painted but different cars than they'll run in the Daytona 500 are set to go for a new distance for the Budweiser Shootout, 70 laps. And here on Fox, we want you to get ready to roll with us. Live on Fox from Daytona International Speedway, the Budweiser Shootout. That's a packed grandstand, and these folks are waiting to see some action, and after practice the last couple days, they're not going to be denied. These 18 drivers are ready to go at it, and go at it hard. There's a 19th car kind of in the field. It's our Fox car. You folks are the sponsors. I'm the owner. Got a great crew chief. I got a way overpaid driver. Daryl, how are you going to win us this race?
Okay, the crew chief's put me in the car. He knows I'm a little antsy, a little nervous. This is our first race out, and he looks at me and he says, "Hey, DW, don't forget, we don't have to race this car in the 500. Do what? Use it up if you have to." So now you got to Crew chief saying use it up if you have to. A driver says, yeah, but this doesn't even. So you go into this race with very mixed emotions, and you just have to see what happens.
Larry?
Now, by the way, Larry, when am I going to pit?
Well, I'll let you know on that. I've been thinking about that ever since I saw the entry blank. But what about the pit crew? They're the guys that's going to make that two-tire stop. I've been telling people for years, they're athletes. They've been lifting weights all winter. They've been practicing in 20-degree weather. And they know one mistake on that pit stop could make the difference in going to victory lane or talking about we shoulda or we coulda.
We're about to find out. Let's go to the president of Daytona International Speedway and our gracious host during Speed Weeks here in Daytona, John Graham.
And now for the starting command, the Grand Marshal of the 2001 Budweiser Shootout at Daytona, Mr. Peter Boudreau.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
The time for talk is over. It's time to walk the walk at 190 miles an hour, 18 cars strong. Dick Berggren.
Well, interesting strategy. If you talk to crew chiefs, you get all kinds of incredible stories here, Mike. I think Robin Pemberton said it best when he said, we're going to make this thing up as we go along. To Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, you're absolutely right. One crew chief said we're going to come in on lap 15 because we can make it the rest of the way on gas. Another crew chief said, nah, we're going to wait till halfway. That's all we can do. Robbie Loomis said, we ain't telling you. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Steve, I polled a number of crew chiefs. 3/4 of the field, they all say they will pit when the leaders pit because they don't want to get hung out with cars they don't want to draft with. To Jeannie.
Well, I'm hearing the same story here, and the general belief at Joe Gibbs Racing is that it's going to take more than their 2 cars to get something done. So honestly, Jimmy Maycar's been working the garage, trying to see if he can get some of the other drivers to all agree to pit at the same time. Mike?
Thanks, Jeannie. Here is the starting lineup for the Budweiser Shootout. They drew for starting positions earlier this week, and Ken Schrader, the 1988 and 89 winner, pulled the pole. Dale Earnhardt, who's won 6 of the 11 shootouts he's been in, starts alongside. Defending champion of the race is Dale Jarrett. He and Mark Martin share row number 2. Martin, the 99 winner. Steve Park won 2 poles last year. He and Jeff Gordon, who won this race as a rookie and again 3 years later in row 3. Tony Stewart last year ran 4th in his first shootout appearance. Bobby Labonte 3rd in this race in 99. Front row, Joe Nemechek won the Talladega pole to make his 3rd shootout. Dale Earnhardt Jr. won a pole at Charlotte and Michigan. He's a rookie in this race. Ricky Rudd, 12 previous appearances. And Terry Labonte, the 85 winner. Bill Elliott, the only Dodge in the field, the 87 shootout winner. He won the 500 a week later, as you've heard. And Jeremy Mayfield finished 5th in this race last year. The 1998 shootout champion, Rusty Wallace, and Jeff Burton making his 2nd appearance in the pole winners race. Ted Musgrave won the draw as one of the 2nd round fastest qualifiers to represent them in this field, and Mike Skinner in the shootout for the 4th straight year. That is your 18-car field as they begin to form up behind the pace car. The Budweiser Shootout at Daytona live on Fox, and it's coming at you right after this.
Welcome back live at Daytona. You're watching Fox Racing, and next Saturday, the Napa 300 at 12:30 Eastern, and then NASCAR Happy Hour, Don't Drink and Drive, 3:30 Eastern on FX. And then, of course, a week from today, the Great American Race starts at 11:30 Eastern. Be with us early to get ready for the Daytona 500. And we welcome back Jeff Hammond and Ken Squire as we get ready for the Budweiser Shootout. The winner gets $200,000. You were a crew chief for at least 10 of these races. Who do you like in this one and why?
Believe it or not, Chris, I went through the garage area this morning, and what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, believe it or not, I want to go with Ricky Rudd. I know that sounds kind of strange because everybody believes Earnhardt's going to do it again, but the guys on that crew are very confident, and they said Ricky says this is the best Budweiser Shootout car he's ever had.
Ken?
Well, Rudd last year had one of the best, and he ended up upside down up turn 4. I want to go with Awesomeville from Dawsonville. I think he's going to be really tough out here.
Mark Martin making his 12th consecutive Bud Shootout start. That is a record as you get a look at Dodge. And Bill Elliott, again, the first Dodge to appear in the Budweiser Shootout ever. Let's go back upstairs. Mike Joy, Darrell Waltrip, and Larry McReynolds.
Well, I think the Earnhardts are going to be tough to beat because, as in horse racing, it's an entry. If you pick Earnhardt, you're getting two cars, father and son.
Plus a teammate.
Steve Park.
Steve Park.
Larry?
Trying to pick the winner of this race is like trying to pick what the weather's going to be like in 9 months, and it always has been. You always have an underdog that shines. I think, though, if you look at history, you got to look at Earnhardt Sr., you got to look at Jarrett, you got to look at Gordon, but I like those Gibbs teammates, Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart.
All right, we're a lap and a half away from finding out. In the Budweiser Shootout of 2001, you are watching NASCAR on Fox. You're riding with Ricky Rudd, one of our group's pick to perhaps win this race. Now, I had a Quinella with the Earnhardts. Daryl's got one, too.
Yeah, somebody named Jeff will win this race.
There's a couple of those. Light is out atop the safety car. That means next time by, we are going green. Caution laps do count. Each car must make a mandatory pit stop under the green flag and change at least the two right side tires. And this race cannot end under caution.
No, it can't. Right now, everybody's tense. The tension is really high because you're coming around for your first green flag of the 2001 season. And down here, differently than any place else, it's a lot about what will happen in the inspection room over there before they put these cars on the line.
You know, the thing I see, we got 18 cars. We've got 7 sets of teammates out there and 4 single-car teams. And you would think they would hook up with their teammate, but what we've seen in practice, you'll be lucky if you see your teammate the entire 70 laps.
Yeah, there just is no deals. This is racing, man. We don't make this stuff up. It happens as it happens. Whatever unfolds, unfolds. You're going to go with the guy that gives you the best chance to get to the front or to win the race. Don't matter who he is.
Look at that grandstand. It's packed because they know they're about to see something wild unfold. Kenny Schrader leads them down. Green flag. Ted Musgrave goes to pit road rather than coming down toward turn 1 with the field. We're racing. Three wide, here we go.
There's your post. Consider Kenny Schrader stuck in the middle. They're going by the high, they're going by the low side. He's pretty much going to end up about 17th before this is over with.
And just remember, that's what can happen to you when you start up front. You can end up in last place in 1 lap. Even if there were 40 cars out there, they'd be going by that much faster.
Now they're doing it to Jarrett. He's kind of like a hot dog getting squeezed right through that bun, right to the back if he can't get back in line.
Looking inside of Ricky Rudd's car, and it looks like a nice calm ride, but trust me, folks, there's a storm going on out there outside of that car.
If you listen, even through the corner, the RPMs almost never change. They may lose about 100 RPMs in the corner because they're flat on the mat all the way around this place, and they will be for 70 laps.
That's what the crew chief always asks. How much are you losing in the turns? I say, if you want to know that, you get in here and watch the gauge. I ain't got time.
Jarrett went back to 14th place before he got in line. Now it's Steve Park, who went from 5th to 1st in car number 1. Now he's getting the squeeze.
3 wide there. They can do that early on. They got fresh tires. Everybody's car's handling really well right at this point.
Boy, Park swung out and almost up into Schrader.
Those subtle moves turned out to be, they'll turn out to be very violent when they happen up in the traffic like that.
In for a second stop, the Ginny Donlevy car, number 90.
He seems to have a vibration. He keeps coming in and changing tires.
There's Jarrett storming back toward the front. Not much luck there. Mayfield there with Bobby Labonte.
Darrell, you said a minute ago that, hey, if crew chief wanted to know something, to get in with you. Remember that one time down Talladega you told me that, and I got in with you?
Yeah, and we went 210 miles an hour. And that's when I knew that you were not all right. You were a sick little man.
Hey, working for you kind of rubbed off. You know what I'm saying?
He rode with you at Talladega?
At Talladega. They had all these gauges in the car, and they wanted to know what they. I said, I can't look at all those gauges. So he got back in the back seat and rode. And I had to go fast to make it all work.
Of course, folks, there is no back seat. There's just a bunch of tin working roll bars back there.
Saw a little steam come up out, a little puff of water come up out of one of those cars on the outside there. They're going to run these cars just a little differently, and they might run them in the 500. They got them taped up. They're going to run them just about like they qualified.
Earnhardt loses the lead to Mark Martin. Jeff Gordon on the low side with Martin, then Bobby Labonte. Mayfield. Ho-ho!
He just wanted him to know he was there. It's just a little friendly tap.
Jeff Gordon came from second on the inside to the lead. He's bringing Labonte and Mayfield with him. And the Earnhardts are hooked up on the outside.
Gordon dropped down to get Labonte to help him come up behind him so they could pass Earnhardt. Earnhardt is really hard to pass when he gets in front. They want to shake him out of the draft if they can, get him back in the field.
You're riding with Mark Martin. Coming right up the middle. But only so far. Gordon just slid up the racetrack a little to hold him.
Look at that, 3 by 3 by 3 by 3. And they'll all tell you can't do that. They'll all stand on the sideline and say, you can't run 3 wide here.
So Tony Stewart get just a little loose there, but he's the one that's pushing Mark Martin up there. And Mark may have been struggling in qualifying mode here, but he's done what he does best. He's got that car driving good and racing good.
And the guys on the inside, the guys down here and the guys out here, they're pretty comfortable. Those guys in the middle, they could let off the throttle and they can't get out of that spot. They are hung up in there and can't get out.
Folks, you got to remember, they are doing 190 miles an hour closer together than you park at the shopping mall.
There's a lot of hand signaling going on right now, I can tell you that. Everybody's saying, come on, get behind me. No, get behind. They're moving all over the place. You're just trying to find some place where you can move.
Well, Jeff Gordon at the point has had the 2 Earnhardts right behind him, but Bobby Labonte brings his teammate, Tony Stewart, in that orange number 20 right up to the front on the inside.
Let me tell you, Dale Earnhardt has no intention of running any further back than he is right now. He knows if he can stay up in the front, he can win this race. He gets back in the pack, he get beat up, get pushed around, you don't have a chance.
How about Schrader? In 36, started on the pole, got kicked to the total back of the field. How did he get back to third?
Well, how did any of them get back up there?
You heard Jeff Gordon say, and that's what this new aero package will do. You can go to the front. You get out front. Then you go to the back. Then you go back to the front. It's all about, it's a chess game, and you try to figure out, how am I going to end up in the front on lap number 69?
Schrader has won this race twice, but not in the past 11 years.
Earnhardt is wearing the rear bumper paint off of that 24 car.
Oh, they're drafting all right, Larry. They're bump drafting, baby. And you can do that down the straightaway, but, you know, you don't want to try that in the turns.
You don't want to be in yaw or turn.
No, you don't want to have that wheel turn one way or another and get bumped.
Earnhardt Jr. has stayed right in Dad's shadow, right up close there on the outside, and second and third in the outside lane. Overall positions are meaningless because it's 2 by 2 all the way back through.
Well, the guy sitting in the back, you take Jarrett, Bill Elliott, doesn't come as a surprise to me that they'd be back there kind of watching all this.
Mark Martin got way up high coming off turn 2.
That will increase. Those cars will continue to push up more and more. It's all aero. You don't get the good grip after you run a while off of the corners.
Here go the Earnhardts.
This is everybody else's worst nightmare. These 2 guys get hooked up out front. I'm telling you, it's going to be trouble.
Now, is Dale Sr., is he going to leave Son hung out to dry there? If he gets a chance, do you think he'll drive down in front of Jeff Gordon, or will he stay right there, Darrell?
Right now, he'll work with his son. I wouldn't count on that all day, though.
Now Gordon's closest teammate is Terry Labonte, who is well back on the outside lane, 4th in line.
Terry Labonte will lay back there at the back, watch all this action. Very conservative driver, takes his time, patient. When it comes time to go, he'll be up there.
There are the Gibbs cars, 18 and 20, Labonte and Stewart. Now Earnhardt and his son are technically not teammates. Richard Childress owns the number 3, but Earnhardt owns his son car, and blood is thicker than money.
I was going to say, you'd think it'd be a little thicker than whether they're teammates or not.
Oh, goodbye Gordon. He's cat caught in the middle.
He's in the middle. See you in the rear, Jeff. He will go the rear just because he wants to when he gets caught in the middle like this.
10 laps complete, 60 to go in the Budweiser Shootout. Earnhardt, Labonte, Earnhardt, Gordon and Stewart on Fox. Welcome back to Daytona, where Bobby Labonte leads the Budweiser Shootout, but only by inches, and not anymore. Earnhart Jr. is going to take over the front spot, leaving his dad in the high lane.
He can get alongside, but buddy, it takes a whole lot of horsepower down that back chute fast.
That's a pretty strong top line to be trying to get by right there. Those guys are lined up in that high line, and I know it depends. Here's Earnhardt moving to the inside of Bobby Labonte.
He'll do that just as Labonte moved down to pick up teammate Tony Stewart a lap ago. Earnhardt Sr. moves down and up right across the bow of Labonte.
That right there is absolutely breathtaking. Trust me when I tell you that. And you're on that radio, Bobby Labonte, and say, did you see that?
And I'm sure he went there before the spotter even thought about saying
Oh,
clear.
yeah.
Need we explain why they call Earnhardt the Intimidator? I don't think so.
Boy, Rudd's windshield looks like it's got oil all over it or something. He doesn't have a very good view there. It wouldn't surprise me if somebody had blowing out a little fluid of some kind, because like I said, they run these things taped up.
Terry Labonte also says he's having trouble seeing. Steve?
And we also heard Dale Jarrett said that his windshield is full of grease. He thinks it's coming off the 36 of Kenny Schrader. Let's go to Matt.
And Steve, the one car is also complaining about a dirty windshield, but Dale Earnhardt can pretty much go where he wants to. He found that out in practice. He could pull out and pass at will, so right now he's just riding. He has not said one word on the radio since they dropped the green. Jeff?
Guys, one of the things I was over at the Gibbs shop not too long ago talking to some of the crew members, the 18 car that Bobby's in right now is not one of his favorite cars. As a matter of fact, it's his least favorite car. The car's got really good drag numbers, but Bobby hates the way it drives, but right now it looks like it's an awful good ride for him.
Labonte in that green car, second behind Earnhardt. You see the worried look on the crew chief on the side of Kenny Schrader's car. That's because he's just been informed they've gotten the black flag from NASCAR, leaking oil. Schrader will have to pit and see if they can plug that leak and get him back out.
Now, the only good thing about these guys that have this dirty windshield is because of new technology, they really won't have to clean that windshield when they do make that pit stop. They got a tear off that they can yank off, and they'll have like a new windshield again, so it'll keep them from having to actually clean it, because they're only going to be there for about 6 or 7 seconds for those two tires when they do get them.
But they're driving, I mean, it's like driving in the fog right now. They're just kind of seeing things ahead of them. If anything should happen, that's when you can have a problem.
We started with 18 cars, and now 11 of them have broken out front. Bill Elliott trying to work his way up and along. He is the last of that 11-car breakout and the only Dodge in the field.
And he's riding, he's running a Bill Elliott race. He's right where I think Bill would always be. He's watching this thing, and if that thing will go, we won't know it until it counts.
Jeannie?
Well, Jeff was just talking about the fact that this is a car that Bobby Labonte does not like, and he's exactly right. He doesn't like it because this is the car that he wrecked at last year's Bud Shootout. But honestly, here with the Gibbs team, they are pretty excited seeing how this car is performing, and they actually have another car they're going to use for the 500 that they call Old Faithful, but they're feeling pretty good about this one right now, guys.
There's Schrader in the pit. They will change 2 tires and try to clean things up. This will count as his pit stop. There's the oil leak up on the back. Matt?
Kenny Schrader came out, Mike, and said he doesn't think they're really leaking anything. They are changing 4 tires and inspecting the car. The inspector says he really doesn't see much. He's down and away.
Well, that will count as his green flag pit stop. He'll lose a lap to the field.
Now look at the 88 car, the white car there coming into the picture. It wasn't just a couple laps ago. He was probably 20 car lengths behind this group, but because of the new aero package, the 1-inch restrictor plate, the roof fin, by himself, those guys dicing up there, he has caught that pack and become part of the lead pack again.
This is a typical run for most of these guys. You'd expect Jarrett, Elliott, Mark Martin. Those are guys that don't really enjoy getting in there and mixing it up. And I think they're sitting there waiting for things to maybe get single file and get a little more sanitary up in front of them before you see what they really got.
All right, now, crew chief, is it too early to start making deals up and down pit road about who you want to pit with and when? Because nobody wants to pit alone and not have a drafting partner.
No, you've got to have a drafting partner, and you need at least about 3 or 4 cars to be in that. And we're to lap 19, so we're in that window. So I'm sure if we look down at the pits, you'll see crew chiefs, you'll see car owners, you'll see tire men, everybody running up and down. When you gonna pit? When you gonna pit?
Let's go to Earnhardt Jr.'s pit and Dick.
And Tony Gurry Sr. is Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s crew chief. Is there any plan for father and son to work together? Is there any plan at all?
No, race like this, I don't believe you can make a plan because nobody's going to stick to it. So we just decided to go out there and do the best we can do, and whoever we can run with the best, that's the one we're going to run with. And right now, it looks like Tony Stewart, the Pontiacs look like they run pretty good with that Budweiser Chevy. So maybe we might better hang in there with that Gibbs bunch.
How soon do you pit?
I don't know. There's probably going to be a bunch of strategy going on here. We're listening to a couple other people, and there's 4 or 5 of them back there with right rear tires are already given up on. So I guarantee you it ain't going to be too long.
Your car is in the lead, Tony. Good luck.
And one of those cars might be Earnhardt Sr.'s. He's just drifted back to 4th place.
Yeah, let me tell you about Earnhardt's car. I have watched him race this car time and time again. When he's out front, you can't pass him. But he does not like to get back in traffic. I don't know if he runs the car loose. I don't know if the car's that free. I'm not sure what it is. But he doesn't like to be back in the traffic. He doesn't want to mix it up as much as he loves to mix it up.
9 lead changes already. That's a new shootout record. The previous record, 8 in a year when Dale Earnhardt passed DW on the final lap. So more lead changes. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads Tony Stewart as you watch the Budweiser Shootout and NASCAR on Fox. Welcome back to Daytona, where Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon. Earnhardt 4th and Mayfield 5th as you watch from the best seat in the house today on board the Budweiser.com airship. Aerial ambassador of the King of Beers. Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR. The Budweiser Shootout continues with 23 green flag laps. Kenny Schrader and the 90 of Ted Musgrave have made their pit stops. Jeff Hammond?
Mike, one of the things here at Daytona, normally on a long run, cars start to pick up a push. Darrell and Larry both talked about that. And speaking with Jimmy Finnick earlier this morning, in 35 laps, the Mark Martin car, his right side tires were totally worn out. The new downforce package is wearing the right sides a lot more than ever. So if a car starts pushing, don't be surprised if you start seeing pit stops here in the next 10 laps.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the deciding factor, I think, on when they pit. You're going to run, as long as you can run your car wide open and stay on the bottom, then you're not going to be wanting to pit. But as soon as you start pushing up the hill and the car starts getting ill to drive, like Earnhardt,
I believe Earnhardt's in the pits. He's got with Gordon, 24-3 in the pits.
Gordon just about slammed on the brakes and peeled off at the last second. It is Gordon, Earnhardt, Skinner, all coming onto pit road and taking more cars with them. Nemechek, Terry Labonte, and Rusty Wallace are all pitting. Matt?
The 24 car is a surprise pitting with the 3, but the 31 isn't. They had made a deal to pit with the 3, the 31, the 33, so you would have the 3 rad cars and the 36. But the 36 is out of sequence. Now to Steve Burns.
Jeff Gordon took just right side tires, Matt. Right side tires for the 24.
Labonte and Wallace finished their stops on the right side of your screen.
Gordon momentarily stalled the motor, but he got her fired up and it was away. He had a good stop.
25 laps complete, 26 this time by.
Looks like Bill Elliott's going to hit pit road here 1 lap later.
And he is now Lonesome Bill from Dawsonville. No one pitted with him.
Oh, this is the most antagonizing thing in the world. 55 miles an hour down pit road. Your pit seems like it's 5 miles away and you're never going to get there.
And the best news for him is everyone else is going to have to come on pit road sooner or later. Dick Berggren?
Well, Bill Elliott is on his way down pit road, Mike. He stops now all by himself. This is a surprise. Everybody wanted to pit with somebody else. Earnhardt's guys are going to try to pit with 5 other cars. They got the right side tires on Elliott's car. It is going to be a 2-tire stop and a good one. 9.2 for Elliott.
Well, Daytona's a lonely town when you're the only dog. Nobody went with him.
You know, nobody lost a lap, so they should shake out when it's all said and done, right back about where they were.
Tony Stewart now the leader. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Bobby Labonte in 18. That black car is Mark Martin, number 6. Jeff Burton is up to 5th now. Ricky Rudd 6th. Jeremy Mayfield 7th. Dale Jarrett 8th.
This is the part of the race, or single file. Not a lot going on right now. Right now, you're catching your breath. You're saying, whoa, man, I'm glad we finally got strung out here a little bit. You're kind of adjusting your mirror. You're looking at your belt. You're checking your gauges. You're going through your little rundown here, your little schedule checklist to be sure when it comes down to 10 to go that you're in good shape.
Gordon and Earnhardt have hooked up together 3/4 of a lap behind the leaders. Here they are, and there's quite a gap back to the lead pack.
And I'm sure you won't see no racing out of the 24 and 3 car. They need to stay in line. They need to keep making up as much ground as they can. You look back about 15 car lengths behind them, you see Bill Elliott. Then a little bit further back, coming out of the trove, you see Mike Skinner. And here comes the cars that's leading the race, but they still have to make that green flag stop.
Mike Skinner is the fellow who got left behind when all that group pitted. Ooh, Labonte climbs the hill down in turn 1.
Well, that could be tires. Once they start doing that, I mean, you lose grip and you just start chasing it up that hill.
Everyone back in line. Now Martin pulls to the inside to take advantage of Labonte.
Larry, I might not have been able to make it to that 50 laps I wanted to run to.
You'd be wanting them tires twice.
I think I'd probably be hollering right now, who said 50 laps?
Now, the only gamble on the cars that have not pitted yet, should we get a caution and they go back racing, they still got to make that green flag stop where your Gordon, your Earnhardt, your Elliott, your Skinner, they've already made theirs. So a little bit of gamble as these guys stay out there longer and longer.
Larry, would you have brought our car in with them?
I would have done been there. When I saw Gordon and Earnhardt hit pit road, I'd find me one car and I'd be on pit road.
Jeff Hammond, how about you? Would you have pitted with them?
I'd like to challenge him on that right there. I still believe that you're at Daytona. When the car starts getting to push, you can't drive it. Fresher tires at the end, I think, would be better. So I think some of these guys right now that are staying out, they're going to be the cars that beat later on.
So, Jeff, as long as he could have stayed on the lead lap, would have stayed out on the racetrack.
Well,
Darryl?
as long as I can keep my car on the bottom, as long as I can keep my car down low, it's not got that big push in it, I would stay on the racetrack as long as I could, because those fresh tires are going to pay dividends at the end of the race.
You ought to know that, Darryl. We won a race with fresh tires one time before, and you can already see as the deal's being made, when's everybody going to come? We're getting close to that 35-lap deal.
The 18.
Down to you, Dick. Let's see what's going on.
Well, the guys from Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s pit have just made a big run up pit road. They've talked to Tony Stewart's crew, and they've decided they're going to pit together. Time uncertain, but they're going to pit together, Mike.
Bobby Labonte and 3 other cars have made a deal to come in together.
And one interesting thing I saw in that picture a while ago, that was Todd Parrott, Dale Jarrett's crew chief and the engine builder from the 18 car, and I saw him hold up 4 fingers, which means we're thinking about putting 4 tires on.
Well, the longer they run, that's not a bad call. Listen, guys, handling. You hear these guys week in, week out, but at Daytona, handling is as critical as horsepower is in the race.
But here, where you cover a football field a second, Larry, how much longer will it take to change 4 tires instead of 2?
Well, these guys are changing 4 tires in about 12 or 13 seconds. The key, the 4 tires will be good. If you could get 3 or 4 cars to do it with you, then you're definitely going to be better off.
Oh, yeah. I think we're going to see somebody. Take 4 tires.
Jeremy Mayfield broke on the back straightaway. He is going to the garage.
Tell you something else that's pretty interesting. The 24, the 3, and the 9, that pack behind them has not been able to close down on them. They've been maintaining about the same distance.
Now remember, Bill Elliott pitted all by himself. He raced up and caught that group.
It wasn't many laps ago. As I pointed out, he was about 10 car lengths back. He's done caught these guys, so he's stronger than he's been showing.
Oh, I think he's about like he was qualifying.
Yeah, first.
They're closing in on them, but it's taking them a while.
We're past halfway, 38 laps to go, as you see in the Fox box at the upper left of your screen. And again, we'll remind you that across the top are numbers, positions, and driver names, and we have a second line underneath that ticker. In this case, it's showing you where those cars started. Steve?
Well, Mike, Larry McReynolds was exactly right. The 88 and The 18 are going to pit together. I talked to Mark Cronquist, the engine tuner on that 18 car. He said they are, in fact, cutting a deal to come down pit road, and the 88's going to have to do some work. They're a little bit loose. Let's go to Jeannie Zelasco.
I'll tell you what, that deal is growing because we are told that the 18 car worked out a deal with up to 4 or 5 teams to all pit at the same time. Bobby Labonte will take 4 new tires. As a matter of fact, they're going to take the air pressure down on that right rear tire about a pound.
Now, if Tony Stewart, Dale Jr., and Labonte lap the 24, the 3, and the 9, and a caution comes out, now what?
Then you got a different story.
Now what kind of deal are you going to make?
Closing in to perhaps lap Gordon, Earnhardt, and Elliott. Tony Stewart, your race leader, number 20. Matt?
Mike, I spoke to Greg Zipadelli, Tony Stewart's crew chief. He said that, yes, a number of people have come into their pits trying to make deals. Basically, he says we're coming in between lap 40 and 55, and whoever else will come with us will, but right now we have about 5 cars.
The guy that pits last, that's the guy that wins.
Sean Parker from Mark Martin's car just came down to Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s crew. He's trying to strike a deal. They want to come in together, but the question is 2 tires or 4. If you take 2 tires, you're out of here more quickly. Parker would like to take 4. He's trying to persuade Earnhardt's guys to do the same thing so they can hook up after the pit stop and run as a group.
The only way you're going to know what to do, and if that's the right move or not, is they scan each other. They always bump drafting. You give him a good push down the back. You got to listen to what all the other guys that took 2 are saying. If they're starting to scream already about, I got the pushback, they're going to need those 4 tires to get to the finish. And that wouldn't be a bad call. I swear, I don't think it would be.
This is sounding like a used car commercial. We're wheeling, we're dealing, everybody rides.
Well, and
come in and see us all together.
That's what makes this is the best Bud Shootout I've ever seen, Herb.
There's the motor man for Bobby Labonte. That's him in the green shirt. That's Todd Parrott, Dale Jarrett's crew chief. They're just trying to make sure that they're on sync with what lap they're going to do it, because if they miss it by a lap with each other, they could get separated.
Plus, not only that, but you're going to come off of turn 4, you're going to be running wide open, and when you get ready to pit, you're going to dive down in that pit, you're going to be jamming gears, and the guy behind you better be on his toes.
Why is that front 3 group of cars, which are still on the tires with which they started the race, faster than the drivers who stopped for fresh tires?
Because they can run them wide open.
Huh?
They haven't picked up the push.
Hey, Larry, it's just not what crew chiefs just live for. This is a race where we can actually get involved and we have some direct input in trying to make the right decision. I mean, I don't know about you, but I know sitting on top of that box, I just love the opportunity to be able to make the right decision at the right time and get an opportunity to help win my driver win a race.
Oh, in 20 years of being a crew chief, you know, I had a lot of lows, but some of the biggest highs I had, besides winning races, was making strategy calls, especially when they paid off.
This right here is what you call high-speed chase.
Just past halfway in the Budweiser Shootout of 2001. Some of the leaders have pitted, some hasn't. You watching NASCAR on Fox. Premiering tonight and every Sunday night, NASCAR Victory Lane on Fox Sports Net at 9 p.m. your local time. They'll take you from pole position to the checkered flag every Sunday evening. In the Budweiser Shootout, 39 laps complete. Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Mark Martin, Bobby Labonte, and Jeff Burton are the front 5. None of them have made their green flag pit stop yet.
No, and those tires are starting to really pay dividends for Earnhardt and Gordon. They're able to work their way back to the lead here, but they're a lap down, obviously. But Tony Stewart, Dale Jr. and those guys, Bobby Labonte, they're going to need tires pretty darn soon.
You know, one thing that I've heard interesting, Darrell, you know, we do talk about a push here at Daytona, but I've heard 2 people talk about things that indicate their car's loose. You heard Tony Uri Jr. or Sr. talk about the right rear being wore out. That's indication the car's loose. The back end's coming around. You also heard about them taking air out of the right rear tire. That's normally something you do to tighten the car up if it's loose.
Dick Berggren has more.
Well, we just heard on the radio that Earnhardt Jr. is going to pit on right around lap 45. And you're right, it is the right rear tire that they've been holding up on. They've been listening. Everybody's talking about right rears going away. They wanted to make it last as long as they could. To Jeannie.
Right rear tire, the drama as well for Bobby Labonte. He's talking about pitting lap 46. That is the target. Right now he's having some problems in the corners. It's tight in the center of the car and really loose coming off. He's trying to hold off again until 46.
Steve?
Well, Larry Mack, Dale Jarrett is one of those cars that's reporting loose. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment and move that track bar down. So again, 88 is loose. Dale Jarrett, he's going to pit on lap 45, Matt Yoakum.
Butch Hilton just came down from the 18 pit talking to Zippy, telling Zippy what their car is doing and what the plans they need, hoping that the 20 will go with them. Right now, it looks like all the cars with the numerals 8 are going to come together, except for the 20. So look to be about 5 cars in that bunch.
Yeah, Stewart may not need to come with that group because he's going to be way out in front of them when it comes time to pit. Tony's car is still working very, very well, while his teammate Labonte has dropped to the tail of the lead draft.
Well, it's really hard to hold that car on the bottom like that now with that many laps. We got 42 laps on tires. Earnhardt's got about 20 less on his right side, so he's got his work cut out for him. That baby's working good for him right now.
Ted Musgrave has gone behind the wall, joining Jeremy Mayfield as the 2 cars out of the event thus far. 43 laps complete, 27 to go. Jeff Hammond.
Mike, we keep talking all week about the poor performance of the Roush Racing cars. Look, Mark Martin's in 3rd place and keep in touch. Tony Stewart as well as Dale Earnhardt Jr. You never know. To get in and get a chance to make his quick pit stop, Mark Martin could be a force to reckon with before the end of the day.
And Mike, I want to try to explain about the right rear. The cars are pushing loose. You basically have the wheels turned hard left, and that makes the car go around the turn like you want it to. But the longer you run, the more you have to turn it to the left, to the point to where if you've ever driven on ice or snow, you get the wheels turned so far, then the back end wants to come around.
The 1 car of Steve Park has lost touch with the draft, and he makes his pit stop. Now this is lap 45 coming up. Let's see who peels off the turn 4 banking. Stewart continues to lead. Very impressive with 45 laps on those tires.
Here he comes, him and Junior.
Now, they don't have to maintain 55 miles an hour. They can come as hard as they want till they get to this line right there. Now they got to be running 55 miles an hour till they leave pit road.
This is a big, Larry, you know, this is big responsibility here.
Jeannie?
Well, as expected, here comes Bobby Labonte. The plan right now is to take him 1 pound down on that right rear, the same problem everyone's having, and 1 round down on the track bar and 4 tires. Matt?
A 4-tire stop for Tony Stewart. They did adjust the car with wedge. He was tight. Let's just go to Steve.
Matt, 4-tire change for Dale Jarrett. They did make that track bar adjustment. Right side tires on, left side tires on. We have a crewman down,
The 99, the engine stalled and they were having to push it and it fired and it took off.
Yeah, it took off and left them pushing.
Laying on the ground.
They lost their footing.
Yeah, actually they didn't get hit. They were pushing the car. When it fired, he took off.
So that should be it for green flag pit stops. 25 laps to go.
Now, Larry, with them 4 tires and already having been leading the race.
First, let's show you what happened on pit road, Darrell, to Jeff Burton's crew.
Yeah, they just...
His car had stalled when he left. These guys was pushing the car. I saw him when he left the pits, and they had pushed it 3 or 4 pit stops before it finally fired. When it did fire, it's like they lost their momentum and started tumbling.
Well, I tell you one thing, Tony Stewart is driving my favorite car right now.
The one in front.
It's one in front. It's got 4 fresh tires on it.
You're riding with the leader, Mark Martin, who took on only 2 tires when many of the others took 4.
And he's got about a 20 car length lead, and that'd be great anywhere, DW, except Daytona.
Yeah, he's running about 2 seconds slower in that pack behind him.
Well, that's the difference between 2 tires and 4 tires in the pit stop time. About half the length of the straightaway that Mark Martin currently leads by. But for how long? That is the question. 22 laps to go in the Budweiser Shootout of 2001. Mark Martin all alone out in front of that pack on Fox. Welcome back to Daytona and the Budweiser Shootout. 22 laps to go. Tony Stewart and Bobby Labonte with those 4 fresh tires have worked their way past Mark Martin and into the lead.
Yeah, it didn't take them very long. I was catching by what, Larry? A second and something lap.
Second 2/10 in 1 lap, yeah.
Here's how it happened.
There's just no substitute for tires here.
Right down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt to have your teammate pushing you either. That's another plus. You see the 99 running behind the 6, and he's trying to help him. And they're going to be able to hang in there pretty well, I think. But I don't believe they'll be able to challenge those 2 Pontiacs.
You look at those lead 4 of the top 4 there. The only one that changed 2 tires was Mark Martin in the 6 car. Tony Stewart, Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett each changed 4 tires.
Yeah, and Jarrett had a pretty slow stop. He got out late, but he's certainly proven that the 4 tires would work the time.
Here comes Earnhardt Jr. hunting 4th place as he and Jarrett get side by side.
Look at Jeff Burton right there on the outside. Despite having all those problems, he moves down to the bottom. He's back up in there despite being on pit road a lot longer than anybody else.
And that'll bring the rest of that pack right up to them.
Got to remember something about that 99 car. Didn't he win this race here in July? The 400, not this race, but he won here in July. And that's a fast car.
Look who's back in the picture there. The old man in black right there.
Yeah, well.
He and Jeff Gordon moving along.
It's going to take, if he can pull this out with 2 tires, he is the man.
Rusty Wallace right with them.
Every time I say that, somebody must tell him, Waltrip said you can't do it. And he'll go right up there and do it just to spite me.
And he told you yesterday, why don't you come ride with him?
I wouldn't ride with him. I'd just soon get an electric chair.
The sensation would be the same, right?
I didn't even like riding up in another car out there with him, let alone in one with him.
13 cars pretty much in the lead pack.
Every time I'd get around him, here's what I'd hear.
3 drivers back outside the lead pack and 2 in the garage. Mayfield and Musgrave.
That's the first thing I'd hear. Then the next thing I'd hear wasn't a very good sound.
Mike Dale Earnhardt came on his radio and told his spotter, Danny Culler, go over to Gordon's spotter and tell him that we need to work together to fall in line because we are both on older tires, or else we are going to lose this pack.
There are the spotters high above the Winston Tower, 2 floors above us, and way above the racetrack. And they need to be eagle-eyed because at times those cars are a mile away from their vantage point.
Well, what everybody's doing right now is they're preparing themselves for the final 5 laps. The spotters are cleaning their glasses and their binoculars, and they're sipping on their drink up there, and they're getting ready because they know that this thing is going to pick up the action with 5 to go.
Look at Gordon on the inside. Evidently, Danny Culler delivered that message. Earnhardt there, I think he had his arm out the window.
No, it was
waving, was it, or was it just the?
That was a roof flap on the 18 car was flapping up and down.
Oh gosh.
And what's been causing that, Darrell, is that roof fin across the front. It's disturbing the air across the roof. It's making the air mad. It's not knowing what to do, and it'll raise that roof flap up.
Yep. We've seen that in a number of incidences when the cars are in groups.
And look what happened to our leader, Tony Stewart. He got drop-kicked.
Well, I know what he'll be saying. These tires ain't very good. Got a bad set of tires. On the other hand, he might think a little strategy might be going on there with Tony. He might think getting back and getting a run on him might be a better situation for him.
He went from 1st to 6th, leaving Bobby Labonte at the lead. Mark Martin in 2nd, Earnhardt Jr., Earnhardt Sr.
Here comes Mark Martin with Dale Jr. in tow going into turn 3. They're going to take the lead. Dale Sr. moving up the middle with help from Dale Jarrett.
Boy, Labonte and
boy, if the Daytona 500's anything like this, I can't wait till next Sunday.
Labonte and Stewart, they went from leading to fighting for the lead.
And here comes Junior with a look to the outside.
I got to say, these cars have got a lot of grip. Some of them just to have those older tires on.
I told you, DW, trust me, them 2 tires will be just fine.
Now, did Earnhardt Jr. move up to the outside to pick up his dad in the draft, or did he just move to go?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what he did.
One of those.
Yeah. I'm thinking he wants his dad to get behind him. I tell you, when he gets in front, it could be somebody to deal with.
There's a little bump drafting there at the end of the back straightaway between the Earnhardts.
The reason they hit at the back there, at the end of the straightaway, with the plate and the drag these cars have, the front car slows way down at the end of the straightaway. That gives the guy behind him a little run on him, but when he hits him in the rear end, it shoots that lead car forward just like he hit the afterburner.
So that second car, since it doesn't have to push the wind, it can push the front car.
He gets a heck of a tow, and the guy in the front is slowing down. He gives him a boot and speeds him back up.
Here comes the teammates, Joe Gibbs, and look at Dale Jarrett get a run, sucking up on Tony Stewart in that orange car.
I believe that the 20 and the 18, I believe they said, look, let's see, be sure we can handle these guys. Let's get back here and pass them.
They're going to catch up Terry Labonte here in a second. Put a lap down.
18 car went way high there. Not a good move.
And look at Earnhardt Sr. in the 3, shuffled to the back of that pack once again.
That's all about, he can't, I think he's probably having trouble holding it wide open every lap. A little arrow push and somebody getting the wrong place, and he's got to let out the throttle a little bit.
You see Terry Labonte there, he's a lap car, but did you see Tony Stewart down? He's hunting any little draft he can get. Even though Terry's running slower, it still was a little bit of poking, a little bit of hole in the air for him.
I think what happened then was the 18 and the 20, they got shoved out of line just a little bit, but I think you can see how quickly they came back to the front. Look, here comes Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart. Oh,
a little bit of bumping there. Dale Jarrett decided he needed to get back up on the racetrack. He was running out of racetrack. That funnel was getting smaller.
And Dale Jarrett is a nice man, but I wouldn't do that to him.
No.
Dale really don't have no help down there on the bottom of the racetrack.
No, anytime you get cut off going into 3 like that, you've got to lift a little bit. You lose your momentum, and you're going to get passed by a lot of cars. He'll have to, now he's got to go to the back and work his way back up there again.
Mike, I asked Kevin Hamlin, the crew chief on the 3 car, if you had it to do all over again, seeing now what you know with the 20 car, how strong it is on 4 tires, would you have gone with 4 tires? He says, no, I think we go 2, because this thing's not over yet.
Here comes Junior for the lead by his lonesome on the bottom.
That was strong.
That was strong.
Here comes Stewart right back after him.
That's horsepower down the back. That's
Whoa, Tony gets loose there off turn 4.
That's handling off of turn 4.
That's a handful off of turn 4.
That might have even scared Junior. I don't know.
Scares me. I'm way up here.
Oh, Junebug, he got to look at the back of that Pontiac here. Watch this. Coming off of turn 4, he's got that thing cranked down under him, and he says, hello. Oh, yeah. Junior never even flinched. He didn't even look over.
He didn't even know he was there.
Nah, he didn't. It bothered him a bit.
That's Jeff Gordon way on the inside with that pack of cars. Rusty Wallace breaks out of the front pack, goes to the bottom. They're all chasing Tony Stewart, who won 6 races last season to lead the league. Dick Berggren?
We're listening to Dale Earnhardt, the elder, and he just told his crew he has to run up high. He said, I can't run anywhere else. Mike?
Well, that's not good news if you want to win this race, unless you have a lot of help up there.
It is and it isn't. I mean, at least he can run somewhere. A lot of times the cars get so ill you can't run them anywhere. So he's found, that's a good thing about an Earnhardt or a Gordon or a Jarrett, those guys, they'll find a place to make their car work.
See, now he has Rusty Wallace with him in the 2, up on the high side. There are just 10 laps to go. It's kind of a shame. I'd like to see this go on all afternoon.
And where did Rusty Wallace come from?
Way
I don't
back.
think we've mentioned Rusty Wallace all day.
Where did this whole pack come from? It wasn't long ago we had about 5 or 6 cars. Now we got 13 back up there in the lead draft.
And 2 young guns on the point, Tony Stewart and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
I believe that Junior's car is a little faster than Tony's car, but Tony's car's just got those 4 tires, gives him a little bit more grip through the turns.
Now, the crew chief's talking to their drivers. What kind of input feedback is going on right now?
Right now, the crew chief isn't saying a word. The crew chief can't do nothing. It's driver keeping his mouth closed, crew chief keeping his mouth closed, spotter doing the work right now.
The only guys that are saying anything are the ones at the back, and they're giving out a whole bunch of excuses why they ain't up no closer to the front.
There's nothing that crew chief can do now. They can talk about what they should have done after this race, but pretty much for the next 9 laps, they've got what they've got.
Jarrett's on the inside trying to make a move. No one goes with him, and he makes a move, but it's back 1 spot.
Yeah, well, he had a car. He run up to the front there a while ago. He's trying to work his way back. That's really what he's doing.
He'll need some help to do it.
Can't get anybody down there with him.
That's his teammate in the black car there on the outside, Ricky Rudd.
Man, you look over and you know it's your teammate and you say, hey, bud, how about the help? Can't do it right now, Pard. I got to go. Catch you later. Yeah.
He's going to go back to about 9th position. And here he comes through turn 2, trying to picks up a spot, goes back a spot.
As you can see, they keep the cars that got 2 tires are running higher and higher and higher. The bad news is, boys, they're going to run out of racetrack here in a little bit.
Jarrett back to 10th. Tries to slip up in line, but can't do it in front of Schrader, so he'll go back to 11th. Ricky Rudd now makes a run.
I was going to say, didn't somebody pick Ricky Rudd to win this thing?
I believe that was our partner, Jeff, down there.
He's been in the pit. Oh, he's been in the garage. He got some inside information.
But nobody seems to be able to go alone. Rudd gets back in line just as Gordon breaks out on the bottom.
You get such a run right at the end of these straightaways, right at the end of going into turn 1 and right at the end of the back, and if you got room to go.
And Gordon just climbed the hill and almost got to the turn 2 wall. From Mark Martin. That's Schrader slipping past. Now, as long as these two, Stewart and Earnhardt Jr., stay single file, can anyone do anything with them?
The only place is going to be at the end of the straightaway.
Well, look at Jeff Gordon as he climbed the hill.
Well, he did that on purpose. He wanted to get up and pick those cars in front of him, wanted to get that draft coming off turn 2. I know it looked ugly, but that's what he was trying to do.
6 laps to go. Now it's Labonte getting shuffled. Bobby Labonte.
Bobby has got to be a little frustrated because he was up there right behind his teammate. He's got 4 tires. That old car, that car that he didn't like, he's going to like it a whole lot less when this is over with.
Well, when you come to Daytona as the Winston Cup champion, you find everybody gunning for you?
Most of the time you do, but you know, the Labonte brothers, Bobby and Terry both, they're such low-key, nice guys. They're non-assuming. They just kind of walk through the garage and everybody kind of loves them. And I think everybody's kind of happy to see him be the champ, and I don't know if they're all gunning for him.
Schrader just went 3 wide between the Labonte brothers, or rather between Bobby Labonte and Jeff Gordon, to move up to 6th. Schrader started on pole.
Well, I know that Dale Sr. is sitting behind Junior saying, when he goes, if he'll make a move on Tony Stewart, I might have a chance.
We talked about Bobby Labonte, but look at him on the bottom of the racetrack right there challenging for the 5th position. He's got a little bit of help behind him.
What happens in the race, particularly this far into the race, you get such a big push off of turn 2 over there that if he can continue to run the bottom and hold it wide open off of there, he'll be able to come forward.
Handful of laps left. Tony Stewart has had it pretty much his own way, but watch Schrader. Schrader keeps coming in that yellow car, one at a time, a lap at a time. If he can get a little help from Bobby Labonte, he may move up here past Rusty Wallace.
He's doing a good job down on the inside, and here comes Labonte with him. I tell you, this is a chess match. I wouldn't know who to pick right now.
Schrader started first, dropped back as far as 17th, all the way back up to 6th. An up and down day. The trend is up.
You know, you'd have thought he was doomed having to pit early and.
Whoa, that's more than bump drafting. That's get out of my way.
Man, that will absolutely put your heart in your throat.
Dale Jr. moved low. Tony moved low with him. Then Dale tried to yank it back and got just a little bit loose right there going into turn 3.
Dale's car it's really fast down the back straightaway. He can really get a run on Tony, and Tony's going to have to be on his toes, or he's going to shake him out. He's going to pass him going into turn 3, and I'm telling you, then the race is on.
Schrader falling out of line.
Motor trouble.
3 laps to go. Is Schrader out of gas?
He could. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Remember, he stopped at lap 17.
Yeah.
Matt?
The bad news, Ken Schrader is out of gas.
Oh.
pitted early because of the black flag for the oil leak and tried to stretch it. Here comes Earnhardt to the bottom on Tony Stewart.
What is this all about?
Well, he can see the air. He can also smell the money. It's 2 laps away.
I think it's that open face helmet. I think it's something about that helmet that lets him feel. He don't see anything. I think he feels something.
No one has won more races at Daytona International Speedway than Dale Earnhardt.
Let me tell you something. That wasn't all that bad a move. We'll have to see how it plays out. But I think Tony Stewart was feeling like he might not be in a good position leading this thing on the last lap.
Darrell, they are running that high side of that racetrack.
And don't count out Rusty Wallace. He's kind of snuck his way back up to the front pack there, the 98 winner of the shootout.
I think Tony Stewart thought better of leading on the last lap. I think he wanted to get Earnhardt shook out and see what he could do with him.
Look at Tony Stewart, no help, and he goes by Earnhardt on the bottom side going into turn 3 and 4.
I'm not so sure they didn't touch because Earnhardt really took off up the hill. White flag.
A Pontiac has never won this race. Stewart leads the bell lap in a Pontiac. Here comes Earnhardt, Wallace, Jeff Burton, and Gordon to the inside.
Let me tell you what, Tony Stewart is doing some good mirror driving right now.
Look at the run. Dale Jarrett gets there behind Jeff Gordon on the bottom side of the racetrack.
Boys, the race is just getting ready to start. Hang on to your helmet.
Where do you swerve?
Well, nowhere yet. All right, now go.
This is it. Down to turn 3, final time.
If he doesn't get him here, he doesn't get him.
3 wide going into turn 3. Dale Jarrett pulling Bobby Labonte along with him. He's up to 4th.
But it's not for the big money. Tony Stewart, the Rushville, Indiana Rocket, leads him off the corner. Earnhardt may have one last chance.
It's over.
Tony Stewart wins the Budweiser Shootout over Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace.
That was a fun race to watch.
How many lead changes do you suppose we had? I won't talk about it at the start-finish line, but on the entire race.
To show the effectiveness of NASCAR's new aerodynamic package. In last year's Daytona 500, which was a bit of a snoozer, Dale Jarrett dominated, only 9 lead changes. Here we ran just 70 miles and had 19 lead changes.
And that was at the line.
Oh, man.
Stewart wins the shootout in his second appearance. He's the 14th different driver to win it. There's Kensington, Connecticut's Greg Zipadelli, the crew chief. And it's the first win for a Pontiac in this race, Steve Burns.
And Greg Zipadelli, the crew chief, congratulations. That was nerves of steel on the driver and the team, man.
That's Home Depot Pontiac ran great all day. Tony, he's just done a great job. We've been learning these restrictor plate races. I think we've had really good cars. I haven't been making some of the best calls, and Tony, we're kind of learning. He did a great job today. He did what he had to do. All the guys on the crew have worked real hard all winter, tweaking on these cars, and we got a good one. I think our 500 car is a lot better than this one, so we're pretty excited.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Open wheeler, IndyCar racer, Silver Crown sprint cars, midgets, Winston Cup cars, doesn't matter. If it's got an engine, put Tony Stewart in it. He'll find a way to win. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. The Budweiser Shootout has been won by Tony Stewart. Pontiac Grand Prix congratulates Tony and his wide track attack team on yet another victory. Wider is better. There's the pass for the win with 2 to go on Dale Earnhardt.
It really was, and Dale looked like he took off up the hill there just a little bit, but maybe he did on purpose to try to get a run on Tony as they come off turn 4. But I got to tell you, boys, I am worn out. I got blisters on my hands.
How about this fellow? Fresh from 70 laps work. Tony Stewart wins in his second Budweiser Shootout appearance. Dick Bergman.
Well, congratulations, Tony Stewart. Tell us, was it driver, car, crew, strategy? What won this thing for you today?
Playing the restrictor plate game. I hate this stuff, but it worked for us.
With his crew chief, Greg Zipadelli, congratulating him. What are you learning? You said as soon as you got into victory lane, you said, I'm finally learning this game. What did you learn that helped you today?
I'll tell you what, when you got Dale Earnhardt behind you, he's going to pull every trick out he can to win here, and he's won so much here that you got to pay attention to what he's doing. And I'll tell you what, I can't thank Dale Earnhardt Jr. enough. I mean, him and I worked together all day long, and whether he was leading and I was behind him or vice versa, we really worked well to get today, and that's something I'm going to be looking forward to next Sunday, him and I working together again, because we we really ran well. We ran up front all day, and we were able to really get some runs on some guys. So, I don't know if his old man's going to be very happy with him, but him and I had a good day nonetheless.
All right, congratulations. Matt's with Earnhardt.
Well, Dale Earnhardt made a great drive, nearly pulled off your 7th Bud Shootout victory. The 4 tires versus 2, was that the difference?
Well, I reckon. I don't know what they did, but my car was awful loose, awful pushy. I could tell they had better rubber on it, but I just kept driving the car, flying the car, doing the best I could on the top. And Rusty and the guys worked real well with us. I just knew I needed that top lane. I couldn't get on the bottom. I'd shove off for turn 2 with the wind and everything. So we just kept working, and I tried him one to go and got the lead. Maybe it's too soon.
Well, you finished 2nd. I'm told down here, speculation is the 20, the 3, the 2, and the 9 will be headed for a trip to the wind tunnel later tonight. Now to Steve.
Well, Matt, we're with the driver of that number 2 car, Rusty Wallace. Rusty, heck of a show today. Tell us about the race.
It was a good car all day long. Early in the race, the windshield got coated with oil, and I couldn't see anything, and I had to back up about 15 lengths. We came in, they pulled the tear off the window, and then the hot rod took back off, and it ran strong all day long. I ran pretty warm in the water. We'll have to work on that. The front end was pushing a little too much down in turn 2, but I worked good on the top side of the track, and the car ran great. Going into turn 3, 1 lap to go, Dale went low. I started to go high, and I thought I was going to get him there and maybe pull off a victory when Stewart was doing what he was doing. But I'll tell you what, all in all, coming from tailback to 3rd, I thought it was a good run for the Miller Lite Ford today. It was a real good car today for me.
Great run, Rusty. Let's go to Jeannie.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., not that you can get an assist in this sport, but Tony Stewart just mentioned you and wanted to thank you for your help out there today.
Yeah, Tony's one of the guys that'll work with me with the limited experience I got. I don't got a lot of guys that respect me out there, so that comes with time. And me and Tony have been buddies for a long time. He's raced with me in the Busch Series, so I help him out on the draft, and he helps me some.
What did you say to your dad at breakfast today to make you get out there and swap so much paint? And it looked like there was some help, and then maybe you were hung out to dry a little bit.
Yeah, we worked together the first half of the race, I think. We really haven't ever sat down and talked about it, so I really don't know what he wants me to do when I'm behind him or whatever, but I did what I thought he'd want and got him in the lead a couple times. He helped me out a few times, but when it comes down to the last 10 laps or so, ain't nobody going to be helping you. So Tony was just a lucky guy to be up front. I mean, I wouldn't never thought he'd have won the race, but he was a lucky guy that wasn't having to race everybody back there.
Well, we should be honest here. Your dream was that you won the Daytona 500, not the Bud Shootout, so your dream is still alive, yes?
It's looking pretty good, I think. We didn't win today, but ain't nothing a cold Budweiser ain't going to fix.
Oh, the sponsors love you. Guys?
Yes, they do. There is a very soggy but very happy Tony Stewart. After a great win here in the Budweiser Shootout, in only his 2nd appearance in this race of pole winners, he led 36 of the 70 laps. Dale Earnhardt trying for his 35th Daytona win, finished 2nd. Rusty Wallace climbed the ladder all the way to 3rd from tailback, as he said. Dale Jarrett 4th. Jeff Burton finishes in 5th. Earnhardt Jr., a 6th place finish. Bobby Labonte's car faded a bit to 7th. Mark Martin got close. And here's a look back through the field with 16 of the 18 starters running. Tony Stewart wins the Budweiser Shootout, and we'll have lots more from Daytona International Speedway. You are watching Speed Weeks on Fox. We want to thank the Budweiser.com airship for their aerial views, reminding you, as Dale Earnhardt Jr. did, that Budweiser is the official beer of NASCAR. All right, were you paying attention? On our Pep Boys trivia today, how many times has Dale Earnhardt won the Bud Shootout? And for bonus points, in those years, how many of those years did he go on to win the Winston Cup?
I know the answer to the first part. Maybe I ought to know the answer to the second part.
We'll check on that in a little while. Dick Berggren?
Well, right now, Joe Gibbs is on stage, and he's in the process of having his picture taken. We're going to jump right in here. Joe, how good is this guy?
Well, we sure think he's great. I think that's the best way to put it for us. We're excited when we go to work. When we got drivers like Bobby and Tony, we go to work excited because we know if we can get them the right car, we got a chance to win the race. And we're proud of both of our guys. Tony today drove a great race, and it was great to see him get his first win here.
You've seen a lot of terrific athletes in your time. How does this guy rate in comparison to the others?
Well, I think he feels like he belongs. Some athletes, feel like, hey, they just want to make the team, and then I think other athletes want to be great. I think Tony's one of those guys who would like to be great. And So we just hope we can do our part. Zippy did a great job. The whole team is a great team effort, and Lord bless us with a great day, and we're just thrilled.
Congratulations, Joe Gibbs, winning car owner.
Tony Stewart and Greg Zipadelli celebrate there. Here's the answer to our Pep Boys trivia. Earnhardt has won the Budweiser Shootout more times than any other driver. 6 times. He's never run second until today, and in 4 of those 6 years, he went on to win the Winston Cup. But today, it is Tony Stewart who banks $200,000, and now he gets a little bit of that sponsor's product all over, not in him. We will be right back.